guys, Cherish here with our next installment of Cherish Notes. Today we will be doing chapters 3 and 4 of Will Grayson with Grayson, and we are just going to jump right in. Alright, so when we left off, it was just kind of throwing us into a random situation and trying to get things set up for what's going to happen in the future. There wasn't a whole lot of plot development, but just like basic character setup. Easy peasy. Chapter 3 is back to first Will Grayson, the one with Tiny and Jane. And, just throwing this out there, but remember how I said I shipped Jane and Will? Well, there's definitely some plot development there in chapter 3. But to start off with, chapter 3 takes place on the next Friday after the past weekend, and they are going to the GSA meeting. And at this GSA meeting, Tiny is trying to convince everyone that they need to fund his musical Tiny Dancer, which is about him and his life so far, and it just sounds hilarious. And I even wrote in, I need to see his musical boop. So I actually, just a little side note, I actually started reading this in May, but I never got back around to it, so I restarted the book so I could do the Cherish Notes. So there's a bunch of, through chapter 3, which is, I read up to chapter 4 last time, there's a bunch of, just writing it with like pencil, because that's all I had. I didn't have my sticky notes. And I wasn't 100% sure what some of it means. Like, there's some places where there's like little skulls and stuff. I think I just got bored and started like drawing in it, but I'm not completely sure, but I just think it's funny. Anyways, moving on. So then next page, there's not a whole lot. There's going through the GSA meeting, and also during this GSA meeting, they're not just trying to get funding for Tiny Dancer. Tiny is also trying to force Will Grayson and Jane to date. And Jane likes Will, low-key. Will is very unsure how he feels about anything, though. He's so wish-washy about everything. He can't just make up his mind about something, and it's driving me insane. I even wrote it a few pages down, but we'll get there. So he ignores Tiny, and Jane ignores Tiny, and they try to act like Tiny just didn't say anything about them being a couple. And then, after the GSA meeting, Tiny invites Will to see Maybe Dead Cats the next weekend, but to do so he needs to get a fake ID. So he calls Jane and sets up this like kind of date, like just throws them into it for them to go get the ID together, because Jane's the one that gets the IDs for them. So Tiny does that and then runs off, so Will Grayson has to go. And then while and Jane are in the car, Jane pulls over and tries to kiss Will, and Will just turns and leaves her hanging, and it's really sad, and I was very upset about it, if you can tell by this no here. And then they just agree to act like nothing happened, and then Will gets kind of upset because he feels like he was rejected, because Jane is just like, oh, whatever, it's fine, I guess, and just acts like she doesn't really care. And then he, oh no, don't know where that went. But yeah, the point is, it's ridiculous, and Will just needs to figure out what's going on with him. Also, while that's happening, I made a prediction, and I feel like Will Grayson will end up meeting up at this Maybe Dead Cats concert. and I'll get into that in a second because it has to do with something that's happening with other Will Grayson. But I'm almost positive that that's where they're going to meet each other. And so then they go get the fake ID, and Jane's fake ID guy is a super stoner but is like top notch at making IDs. Like, it even has all the holographic-y stuff on it, and he's really proud and excited. And then at the end, Jane and him skip back to her car, and that's it. Most of it was just Will Grayson being super awkward and being like, I can't be with girls because I told myself I couldn't, because feelings. That's how I imagine it. Moving on. Other Will Grayson is working at the same time this is taking place. Actually, this is the next day. This is Saturday. He is working at the beginning of the chapter when Mara comes in. Also, I'm going to explain what Mara looks like to you guys because I didn't know this until this chapter. I had imagined her as like preppy mixed girl for some reason. And she's like super pale goth chick that writes poetry and cries. So, don't know what you guys had in mind. That's what I had in mind. And that's not what it was. So just clearing the air for everyone. I was probably the only one that had that problem. Moving on. Mara bursts into this CVS that he works at, and she's like, "Are you gay?" And he doesn't like talking about his personal life, so he just pushes her off, and that makes her upset. So then he goes home, and around midnight she shows up at his house because they live near each other, and she's like, "I need to talk to you." And he lets her inside, and they go to the garage because it's clear that she's upset that he blew her off. And she likes him, but he's gay. But he doesn't want her to know that he's gay because he doesn't think they're friends enough for her to be involved with his personal life, and he doesn't want people involved with his personal life. And so he makes up this excuse about how Isaac's just some fictional character from like this book he's been writing. I'm really not sure how I feel about Mara though, because she's kind of like ridiculous and messed up, and it's not super like she, to try to get stuff out of him, she like goes through his stuff and like pushes him in corners about things, like corners him into where like he has to tell her. It's not like, it's just not good. But maybe we'll get, sorry guys, my camera keeps cutting out. Moving on. So then Mara leaves, problem solved. He goes to talk to Isaac, and because Isaac is back, he was at the movies after Will got home from working, and so they hadn't talked yet. So they're talking, and they do this weird romance novel impression, kind of, and then it turns into not an impression, and then they're just like embracing each other on the bed, and then it was kind of weird. And then they decided that they actually need to meet up finally, which I'm excited about. But anyways, they pick a day, and it's 6 days later, that Friday, the same day as the Maybe Dead Cats concert, which is why I think that's why they're going to meet up. I mean, I made that guess while I was reading chapter 3, but then chapter 4 just like, you know, so that's what I'm thinking. I will hopefully be back sooner than next week with chapter 5 and chapter 6, but if not, I will see you guys next Wednesday/Thursday. Sorry, I'm trying to get this done really quick because my camera's messing up and I need to try to fix it. I can't wait to see you guys then, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think of the book as well, and if I missed anything. Like, comment, subscribe, I guess. Alright, bye!